Alright guys, it's Bane here. So this is the final release video for Against the Darkmaster rule set. I'm doing it with Open-Ended Games. I did their core book for them. They're going to sell it on the Forge. So the rule set's going to be for free. I highly recommend you buy this core book. This is a very complicated rule set. Very complicated to enter it in. Anyways, enough of that. So we're going to get into it. So when you pull the rule set up, it's going to have a little module I made with it. It's called Quick Start Rules. So definitely open that up. So what I did is I included a few NPCs in there. Okay, and the reason I did that is because they're not super intuitive on how to build in. I mean, some of it is, but like the attack are not super intuitive. So if you want to build your own NPCs in, this is going to give you something to look at. And then also in the guide, I go through and I tell you, like, I try to explain it as best I can. Okay, so between having the beast attacks, I have two different beast attack types, and then having the orc soldier with actual weapons, you should be able to figure it out. If you can't figure it out, then buy the core book. All right, so I'll just say that you can see this one has ranged and this one has melee. If you leave that off, it just defaults to melee. So I try to do things to prevent to throw errors. So if you get this wrong, it may roll, but it might not be the right attack table. It might be looking at wrong information. It might even throw an error. If it does, then it's probably because you enter something in wrong. Okay, so enough of NPCs. Okay, a couple things. Well, I say enough, but I just want to make sure. If you just try to build a weapon in on an NPC and then you attack him, it's not going to work. I mean, it's not going to be right because you have to have these blocks. It has to have an armor type and it has to have a creature type. It's got to be, that's light armor. It could be NA, which is no armor. Creature type will affect your critical roll. So it could knock it down 1 or 2 levels, or it could just make it stay what you rolled. I put defaults in there so that if you leave a blank, it's going to default to something that's going to be incorrect, most likely for that character. It's going to default to like no armor and normal creature, right? But it could be fight a dragon, who knows? So make sure you fill that in. Okay, so that's why I put NPCs first, and that's why I included 3, because they're the probably least intuitive thing in here. The second thing I did that's not super intuitive because it's new is rolling criticals. So on the combat tracker, everything's automated. So I'm going to heal this guy. So if I pull Miser up here and I roll his dagger, here, and I'm going to miss, right? So it just tells you, right? It looks up his armor, it looks up his defensive bonus, it tells you what it was. But let's say I'm going to give him a really big bonus, okay? So let's say I roll it, because I want to show you a crit. So I roll like a 15. Okay, but with my bonus, I got a crit. So he hit his max, all right? So he rolled a 240, but his max result on the dagger is 120. It says right there. And so it gave him a 120 roll. And the wolf has no armor. So he got the full roll, and it's a grievous critical attack at plus 30. Okay, so when that happens and you target properly on the combat tracker, all you have to do is do that. You just hit the button. See, it already gives you the plus 30. It looks it up on the correct chart because I have Pierce selected, and then it tells you I have some stuff. Okay, now if you didn't target him, if you like say he wasn't targeted, and you roll your attack, because players always do this, and you roll your dagger, and you're like, oh no, I didn't target him, what do I do? Actually, that's a good roll. I take this and I drag it onto the wolf. Now, he actually has a crit, but it's not going to work, okay? If you try to roll this, it's not going to work. So what in this case you do is you click on manual, okay? Like here, let me show you. Doesn't work, right? So you click on manual, and then we say light, and then we roll it. And then it's going to roll the light critical attack table with the plus 10. Okay, so just be aware of that, right? So what happens is I capture all this information. Like there's just like tons of, this was really hard to go, lots of stuff happening, made my brain explode a few times, but I capture all this information, and then when you roll your critical, I erase all this information, right, to reset it for the next time. Well, if you don't target, then I can't capture all that information because I can't capture what you rolled, and because I don't know what you targeted, if that makes sense. And so because you could target anything, because you could take that chat that die roll in the chat and drag it on anything, right? And so it's like there's just too much going on there. So that's when you have to do the manual critical roll. Okay, so you do your critical roll, and you'll notice, like, even when he was targeted, like, nothing happened, right? Okay, because we have this little button down here. Some guys that work on this stuff, I think they actually publish material. They got a group they're called the Imaginary Turtles. He made this little button for me, so I thought it was pretty cool, so I used it. Okay, so what we do is we build this critical roll now. So for damage, we just add the damage in here. So we're going to give him 33. Okay, come back here, and then we're going to say, oh look, I rolled a thigh strike. Okay, but it could be anything. Let's do this other one, because this other one was more fun, the Grievous one. So strike to the rear punctures the glute deep. Okay, so we're going to say, we can do whatever, punctured glute. Nice, all right. And then he's got +8 damage. Okay, we'd add that manually. There's no bleed effect. That sucks. So we're going to say 0. He's stunned. And -40 to all rolls. So -40. All right. So now when I build it, my bleed, see my bleed left? My bleed went away. Okay. And I just take this and I drag it to him. He had another crit on here because of the thigh strike. And so you can see the difference there, right? And so that's how that works. Now, I'm going to leave the bleed on there because I'll show you with that bleed on there, it'll actually cause damage, okay? Because bleed is one of the effects. All right, so that's how criticals work. And you got this nifty little crit builder. Okay. Effects. I did list all the effects in here. Everything's capitalized. If it's the name of a skill, it's an effect. It's just capitalized. These two are the only exceptions because they have spaces in them and stuff. So you kind of group them together. NPCs have 2 unique ones that are just for them. Okay. But any of these other ones will work on an NPC. All right. Lastly, character creation. Let's do that real quick. Now I'm talking fast, but it's a video, so you can rewind it at any time. So the first step in character creation is you just give him some stats. So we're just going to give him some stats. You know, there's a point buy, there's a table you can roll on, whatever. You can do whatever you want. Okay. So I'm actually going to roll a fireball here. I had a problem with him. And, you know, why not just do it live on a video here? Okay, so look, okay, so it worked. Okay, so you can see it adjusted his stats, okay, it adjusted his hit points. You know, you go over here, look at his body, adjusted. His charisma went up. That's a kin thing he gets. Charisma 15, probably from he's imposing. All right, there's a little doom table we could roll on. It's up here. We can roll on his doom, right? We can roll it. You can put it on the sheet, put it in his special trait. To gain their trust, you will lose everything. Okay? Yeah, I don't even know what that means. I'd have to read it. Yeah, so you can go into the book and read more about his special doom, or it should be right in here. We're not going to do that right now. Okay, so we got all these special traits got populated. We can click on them and read about it. Oh, here it is. Because of the Darkmaster curse, all firebugs have an additional passion called Doom. Players creating fireball character must generate their character's Doom. It says when facing a situation concerning their Doom, firebugs suffer a -20 penalty to their actions and add 20 to the result of any crits. Okay, so that's what the Doom does. All right, so to gain their trust, you will lose everything. I don't know what that means. You know, that's for you to decide, I guess. All right, so that's the kin, right? You notice this didn't update yet. It will as soon as we add a level. So we're going to go to culture, and we're going to make him a, I don't know, a seafaring firebolt, because that just makes perfect sense. Okay, so I drag that in there, and then I get to select one of these, of each of these, okay? And then if I look on skills, I should have gotten some ranks in here. These are from his culture. All right, still no points here yet. We'll get that with vocation, and so we can choose some gear. Let's do that. Let's go to items, and let's give him some armor, and then make sure you equip it. Okay, you have to equip it. If you say like I can't find the armor, the weapons aren't working, it's because it's not equipped. Promise. Okay, and we're going to give him a light crossbow. And we're going to equip it. All right, and the reason we equip it is because when we do, it now shows up. Because you could be carrying weapons, you know, who knows? But maybe you don't want to use them. All right, so I probably need to make that font smaller. It's cutting it off. Okay, so that's that. So let's go do vocation. So we're going to go to vocation, and we're just going to make him a warrior. Yeah, why not? We can make him a warrior. Well, maybe. There we go. So all I did was just drag it to the block. Now it says, I get to add 20 to each of those 5. Okay, that's easy. And then please add the bonuses to the vocational block on your skill tab. So to do that, so the rest of them would have got automatically updated. But some of these will be like, you have choices. Your first choice is 20, your second choice is 15, your third choice is 10, your fourth choice is 5. It depends on the class. So in this case, he gets 20 on everything. So you just go in here and you type it. All right, now if I go look at this crossbow, he's got 25 total there. If I go look at this crossbow and I click down on it, oh, I didn't need to do that. If I just click down on it, it updates my CMB because his swiftness is 0. Now if I gave him a swiftness of 10, and when I go to click down on it, it's 30. Now I did it, I could have probably done it on hover, but I did it on, because it's a double click to roll or a drag, and either one of them requires a click down. So what that does is it automatically updates before you roll. So that's why I did it like that. Oh, look, he fumbled. So that's pretty much it, right? You could see his melee defense and everything. A ranged defense, both populated. He got a max swiftness bonus is a 10. Let's see, max swiftness is a 25. So if I go take his swiftness and I take it to 30, this should change to 25. Pretty neat, huh? And then this is going to go way up now, 50. Okay, so let's talk about, he's pretty much created. This is easy, right? You may have someone with spells, and if you do, you have a spell tab. So if you want to add spells, you just click add item. It's going to add a blank one, sorry, okay? And then you just drag your spell lore over there, and then we go like, oh, I got the window now, I can get rid of that, okay? And then you go click on your spells, and so we would go Eldritch War, oh, not that one. Well, yeah, we won't weave one. And then we can go Eldritch. Or clearly this guy doesn't get any spells, I'm just showing you how, right? So then you just drag alarm over there. Well, you gotta, oh, I'm a clown. You gotta do this again, you gotta create the window. And then you drag it in there, okay? And then you can see what alarm does. All right, it's a spellcast roll. You can roll that. Okay. Spell has no effects. Okay, so and this is all looking up on tables built inside the rule set. Okay, let's see, what's his wits bonus? 15. That's where he gets bonus. So if he had ranks and stuff, he could spin those in there, and they would also affect that roll. And then you can collapse that. So enough of that. Now magic points, they're not automated because it can vary depending on what weave you do, and depending on what happens with the spellcasting effect. So that's going to be manually done. All right. So let's go back to combat here. So, all right, so we went through the critical table. I think we went through combat. There's some options down here. So we have this action declaration thing. So as you do your actions, you can see the order is actually going to change. Oh, let me put them on the combat tracker. Wouldn't that be nice? Haha. All right, we're gonna see now it's changing, and you can see he's like moving up and down. Oh, let me pick something. Wait, ready, last. Okay, and then same thing for the wolf. His is on here. Okay, so the NPCs are on there, and the players are on their character sheet. All right. Oh, and also you'll notice that to roll monster crits, they're all done on the combat tracker. Okay. All right. So there's some things here, so parry is one. So let's say you wanted to parry. So I'm going to use 20 of my CMB bonus to parry. All right, and I do my roll. Okay, so I do my roll. I only get 30 instead of 50, and I have to parry 20, which is going to give me a 20-point defensive bonus. And to prove that, I'll show you. So his defensive bonus should be 30. Okay, but it's now going to be 50. Okay, pretty sweet. And then look, it goes away. and then as we go to the next round, the parry goes away. So that's cool. All right, so the other thing we could do is a dashing attack. So obviously I can't do this with a crossbow, but if I did, you can see I get a negative to my attack roll. All right, I can do a full half. So if I do a full half, you can see the button resets. It's a minus 20. All right. If I do two weapon fighting, it splits it. I think is what it does. Okay, or maybe it's minus 20. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I think it must be minus 20. He fumbles again. Okay, so that's good. We can roll a fumble roll. So fumble roll's rolled right there, and then it'll tell you what happens. I'm just making an assessment roll. Okay, so let me look up two weapon fighting real quick while I'm doing this. Weapon attacks, melee attacks, disengaging. There's a lot going on in this game. So fighting with two weapons, minus 20 penalty to the attack roll. So it was right. Yeah. I coded it right. My memory's not very good. Okay, so that's that. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's say he has a shield. Now, shields aren't automatic either. But if you had a shield, you would have it in here. Let's get one. Let's find a shield. Let's give him a target shield and must equip it, and it's going to show up. Okay, and so it says that our ranged defense bonus for the target shield is 5, and melee defenses are 5 and 15, and it's rigid. Okay, so a target shield you may only be able to use against one attacker. You may be getting attacked by 3 attackers. So you would declare it, right, and then all you would do is you would type it in here. So let's say it's melee, so we just type in a 5, and you can see my defense changes to that. And if I roll my wolf again and I drag it on there, it's now 35. Okay. And then I can reset it. So it just has to be controlled by the player. So, same thing with item bonus and special bonus. You just update those if you get items to wear. I think that's about it. So I went through this really fast. All of these skills are rollable. You can roll all these skills. They're automatic. It actually tells you what your total bonus is here. A lot of this stuff was added from the guys that have been playtesting it. They've played the game before. They played it on other systems. They know this game. They know Rolemaster well. And I tried to listen to them, although on occasion I had to be like, okay, I can't do that. just for time purposes, or maybe it was really, really hard because at some point you got to stop putting in hours in. Now, I plan on continuing to work on this rule set. As people buy core books. If open-ended game sells 5 core books, I'm probably not going to work on it. But I told them, if we sell 50 or 100, then I'm definitely going to be one to put some more time into this. But the main goal is to have a rule set that's playable for you guys to be able to play this game. It's a really cool game. I wanted to make it because it reminds me of MERP, the old Middle-earth role-playing game, and this is totally playable on fantasy rounds. It's not like some ghetto rule set. This is pretty good. This is pretty good. Okay, so anyways, thanks for checking out the video, and if you got any questions, I'm going to start a forum post, and you guys can catch me there. Thanks.